Hey everyone, how's it going? Right, so today's video is going to be a bit different. I've got something I need to share with you guys that you're probably not gonna want to hear, but I feel like it's something I need to get off my chest. But first, I just wanted to talk about the Jim Jefferies interview that he did with Diversity in Comics. I feel like that is the exact way that you go about tearing someone down, because like Jim Jefferies or his editing team picked out the exact. Before I watched that, I thought I really liked Jim Jefferies as a comedian, as a person. I respected the guy because he went out there and said stuff that, you know, a lot of other comedians were afraid to say. Like he is well known for being the comedian that says the word cunt more than most other comedians. Which I thought that he would find that if he did like a serious interview, like on a podcast with Diversity in Comics, I think they'd find some real common ground. But because it was played just for laughs, because it was like a quick thing, just as a little segment of the show, and it wasn't actually a serious interview, I feel like they heavily edited it to make Diversity in Comics look worse than he actually is by pulling up some of the worst things that he's said, like calling a woman a cum dumpster and other things like that. I don't agree with calling a woman a cum dumpster. You should never do that. Ever. But, just saying that I feel like the interview would have gone a lot better if it were tackled differently. Because Diversity in Comics and Jim Jefferies are two very similar, like-minded people. They are both very outspoken. They both have very strong opinions about the world and their specific thing. And they're both trying to pioneer, and trying to become popular or famous or have a bit of notoriety, and they do have that notoriety of how outspoken they are. So that's why I don't really understand why Jim Jefferies didn't take the side of the side of Diversity in Comics. And I feel like if he did his research, if he watched a few more videos by Diversity in Comics, if he actually saw what was going on, because Jim Jefferies isn't a comic book reader. He doesn't read comic books, so he doesn't know the stuff to interview someone who has a background about comic books. So I feel like if it were not handled as a skit, if it were handled more as a podcast, if they actually sat in a room and talked about, I've seen videos online where you've called women cum dumpsters and you've said offensive stuff. Give me the context. Tell me your story. Don't just have it be a set up, scripted, heavily edited interview saying you called a woman a cum dumpster. That's not good. And then having the guy say, yeah, maybe I shouldn't have said that. And then hold up a picture of a black Superman and say, look, Black Superman, what do you think? And he's like, and he's like, that already happened. But yeah, that's just my takeaway from it. I still think they should. I think that if you want to interview someone like Diversity in Comics, you need it to be a podcast. I would interview Diversity in Comics, but I feel like that wouldn't prove any points because we both have the same kind of views. Just I'm not as outspoken about my views on this whole SJW movement in Marvel. Yeah, I do kind of think. Yeah, I do think that some people are crazy, like Heather Antos, Mark Waid, Max Bemis for a little while was insane. But I feel like they kind of got pushed to the bottom, and my view on that whole thing is any publicity is good publicity, so the less we talk about them, the less we at them, the less we tweet about them, the less people give a shit about shit people, the more the shit people will just go away and be flushed down the toilet. So you don't stick by a toilet to smell the shit. You walk away and you flush. That's what you do. You just flush and walk away. That's my takeaway. I don't like to cause drama arguments with like people that are more successful, have more money, and blah blah blah. But I don't like their opinions. But anyway, that's not what I wanted to talk about. That's just my 2 cents on the subject. I've been talking for about 7 minutes. I'll be talking for a lot longer, because as you've seen by the title of this video is called I got peer pressured, basically. Yeah, this is this is difficult to talk about, because yeah. So a little bit of context. A group of my friends and three individuals that are not friends of mine anymore. We decided to go into the woods camping, and I was under the impression that it's just gonna be a fun like night out, going into the woods, going camping. It'll be fun. We'll have a few drinks. We'll drink a few beers. It'll be fine. It won't get too crazy. I get to where we were meeting up outside a shop. And everyone shows up. We walk to the place that we were going to. We walk to where we would set up our tents, and then one of my friends, I won't name any of them, one of the friends that I'm not friends with anymore because of this situation and other situations, he is so he gets out a bong of weed or some other drug substance, and throughout the night he's like, "Oh Luke, come on, you gotta try some." And I'm like, no, I'm not doing it. Look, I have asthma. Stop pressuring me into doing it. I'm not going to do it. And eventually I cave in. I'd say, "Oh, why not? It's the only way to get you to shut up." So I inhale some of this, some of these drugs, this substance, and immediately I start getting lightheaded, but I want a bit more. So I took a bit more. Then I get even more lightheaded, I start to feel worse, and I immediately say, look, no more. So I then walk away, and that was it. But then that's the end of the story. And in the morning I felt like absolute shit. I walk over to a tree and immediately vomit. Then we go back home, and that's the end of the story. But yeah, it's hard to talk about it because it is my fault, really. I put it in my mouth. I could have kept saying no. I could have, but I just gave in I just caved in to the peer pressure. And the funny thing is, it was just like, it was me, the other guy, and someone else there. We were the only three there. The rest of my friends had walked off to go get pizza. And the moment they get back, I feel like shit. I'm like, I can't walk. I'm like on the floor about to pass out because I did this stupid thing, and I paid for it that night, and I will never ingest any kind of drugs again. Like, vaping is as far as I go from that, but just sucks, man, because it is my fault. It is. Like, I ingested them. I was the one that put the bong in my mouth, and it's just stupid. It's been a year since that. It's not even like it's that hard of a thing. It's like, it's not even that, like, it's that bad of a thing. I took drugs once, and I immediately something snapped in my brain that said, look, don't do it anymore, because it will ruin my life. And the guy who asked me who the drugs belong to, he's not doing too well for himself now. So I guess that's karma. And yeah, just feel so stupid for doing that. And so I guess the moral of the story is, if anyone pressures you into doing anything, just don't do it. The best answer to the situation is just walk away. What I should have done was just call for a taxi home. I should have just either called for a taxi home or walked home. I should have left the situation, but I didn't. I did this. I did the stupidest. When you're in a situation and you've got a friend or someone in the street or a stranger that's telling you to do something you don't want to do, you've got three situations. You walk away. You've got two situations. You walk away and leave the situation, or you do what they're telling you to do. In any circumstance, you pick the first one. I was an idiot and I picked the second one, and I paid the price, and I could have died because of my asthma. I could have died. That's the plain and simple truth of it. I could have died, and I didn't realise it then in the moment, because all I was thinking about was, if I don't do this, then he's gonna keep on like taunting me and telling me to do it. And yeah, but I realised after that I don't need people like that. You don't need people like that in your life. If a friend's gonna tell you to put a bong in your mouth, then he's not a friend. And yeah, I just needed to get this off my chest, because I've been rethinking over it, and I needed to talk to someone about it, and this probably isn't the best place to talk about it, but I just needed to talk. So should I do more videos like this? Maybe I've got like stories to tell for the. I'm only 16, but I've got stories for the next like 3 years. I've got stories to fill up the next like few months worth of content without even doing any comic book related stuff. Like this, I just felt like I needed to get off my chest. Like, okay, I'll make it a new thing. Once a week, every Tuesday, I will do another story time video. Sometimes they'll be like this, where I just bare everything. Sometimes they might be a little lighter. Next week's will be a little lighter. But I needed to get this off my chest. Sorry if you didn't want to hear me whinge and moan about, you know, the mistakes that I've made in my life. Truly, I'm sorry, because I bet none of you wanted to hear me whinge and moan, but it needed to be done. I just got it out there. So, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, then there's probably something wrong with you. But if you didn't, then, you know, what can I do? What do you want me to do? What do you want me to do? Yeah. Hit subscribe, hit like, ring the bell, and that's pretty much it. Peace.